Hey everyone, welcome back to Nick's Sports Strips. For this video, like the last video, I'm going to a Rangers game. But it's not Rangers, the hockey team, it's not Rangers, the baseball team, it's Rangers in Glasgow, Scotland, seeing a soccer game. Specifically, this was a Champions League qualifying match against PSV Eindhoven. Was going on a group tour of Scotland, and this just happened to fall right when I was in Glasgow. Perfect timing. I was really excited to check out a game in Scotland. I've heard a lot about the atmosphere in games there, and it really didn't disappoint. Another thing that didn't disappoint was my visit to CrabShakk. They had incredible seafood, one of the best seafood meals I've ever had. So hopefully this video conveys just how good the atmosphere was and just how good the food was at CrabShakk. Let's go. Hey, I'm here all the way across the pond in Glasgow. Made it for this Rangers against PSV Eindhoven Champions League qualifying match. It's a huge game for both teams because they obviously want to make the Champions League group stage. And I'm so excited to be here in Glasgow. They live and die football with Rangers and Celtic. Tonight's all about Rangers, and it's totally different than going to a game in the US in any sport. But first, I'm gonna go get some incredible seafood at CrabShakk. It's supposed to be one of the best seafood places in Glasgow, and I'm just so excited to be here, taste some food that I don't get to eat very much, and to see an incredible match. So let's go. So we hop on the Glasgow subway system to go to CrabShakk. This is the Finniston location. They have another smaller location elsewhere, but this is the main one. You know, this isn't the typical traditional Scottish meal that you might have, but Scotland is known for having incredible seafood. I was anticipating getting a lobster, but got talked into by the waitress to having a bunch of smaller dishes, starting off with these fresh oysters that tasted like they were right out of the ocean, but in a good way, not in a bad way at all. Also had tempura style squid, which was much better than the typical calamari I'm used to in the United States. Then the seared scallops, definitely one of the highlights of the meal. These were really, really good. They were incredibly fresh, just like the oysters were, and kind of melted in your mouth. Probably the highlight of the meal for me. And then the main dish we got was this Dover sole, came with a side of chips. This isn't the typical seafood item I would order at a restaurant, but really liked it. The sauce made it all come together, and like I said about all the other things, it was really fresh. Definitely loved CrabShakk. The whole meal came to about 86 pounds, so you're getting really good value for your money, and I would definitely recommend it. For the rest of the day before the game, we took a bus tour around Glasgow. Obviously, it's my first day in the city, so I was really looking forward to seeing some really nice architecture on this bus tour. And then we made a stop at the Glasgow Cathedral. Even if you're not religious, it's always fun to see these large European churches. Then made a stop at the Kelvingrove Museum. This museum originally opened in 1901 and has some really cool science and art displays. You can see these dinosaur bones were really impressive to see in person. Saw some old fossils and some really cool paintings. Worth checking out if you have free time in Glasgow. Being in Scotland, I had to try Iron Brew, which is like almost like the national soft drink of Scotland. It's one of two countries that doesn't have Coca-Cola as its most popular drink. This was the energy version kind. I really liked it, and I grabbed one, headed on the train, and went to the game.
at the game, I decided I wanted to try some of the concessions they had at the food, and I ended up landing on this black pudding meat pie. I'm glad I tried it, but it's probably more of an acquired taste because it wasn't really for me.
I didn't get to record some stuff in the game that I really would have liked to, specifically Rangers' second goal. I think the crowd was going so crazy around me that I got caught up in the celebration. People were so friendly; they like started like hugging people every after the second goal because they went up 2-1. But yeah, I didn't record at that moment. I wish I did because it was really an incredible moment. But yeah, unfortunately for them, PSV pegged them back. 2-2 was the final score. But Rangers got the last laugh. They won the away leg 1-0 and made it through to the group stage. Yeah, can't say enough about how good the atmosphere was. I think I was standing the whole match because everyone around me was standing. And yeah, it might not always be the same if you go to Ibrox. This just happened to be a Champions League qualifying match, the first one in over 10 years. So the fans were understandably really jacked up for that one. But I think if you go to Ibrox, you'll have a good time. Another place I know you'll have a good time if you like seafood is CrabShakk. The food was just so fresh. I never really associated Scotland with seafood. I don't know. I just associated it with haggis and stuff like that. But it makes sense. It's by the water, by the North Sea, and yeah, the food is just really good at CrabShakk. Really liked the scallops particularly, and the oysters were just like wow. They were just like coming right out of the ocean. It felt like. Um, yeah, so I was a tourist in Scotland, so I captured some moments from the rest of my trip. It didn't just end in Glasgow. I went all the way around the country and saw some really cool things. So I'm going to leave you with that. Thanks for watching this video. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
Our tour the next day started at the beautiful Loch Lomond, really nice lake to see. Then had our breath taken away at the incredible site of Glencoe up close. This is just a must do if you're in Scotland, just really beautiful. Then we went on a boat ride around Loch Ness. Shockingly, we did not see the Loch Ness monster. I know that's hard to believe. Then went for some whiskey tasting at a distillery. If you're a whiskey person, highly recommend going to Scotland and doing one of these tastings. It was really fun, even not as a whiskey person. Then went to St. Andrews. You know, I'm not the biggest golf fan, but I have been a golf fan in the past, and I really liked going to St. Andrews and seeing this historic course right after the Open Championship happened a few weeks before. And the town of St. Andrews is actually really cool as well, like a small university town, but also has some really cool ancient ruins. This was the sunset at Nairn in the north of Scotland. Being that far north in the summer, this is the sunset at about 10 p.m., so it's beautiful. And then finally, we made our way to the capital city of Edinburgh, and we saw a ton of old buildings, including the castle that's on the hill, Edinburgh Castle, and got a close up tour of it. Really enjoyed my time in Scotland. It's a fantastic country, and I highly recommend visiting if you ever get the chance.